Welcome back into Boston has entered the chat. Okay, wasn't a great weekend for the Sox.
No.
You dropped 2 out of 3 to the Braves, but they didn't get swept, George. They didn't get swept. Devers came up clutch. I mean, hey.
First walk-off home run of his career, hit the grand slam the next day. The team's there. They're there.
It's right there.
It's just got to put it all together.
All right, let's figure out how to put it all together, shall we? Let's bring in Jahmai Webster here to Boston has entered the chat. Good morning, my friend. Thanks for getting up early and joining us this morning.
What's going on, guys? Good morning to you. Kudos to you guys for doing this every day, man. I could certainly not. I'm a night owl, so my schedule is at night.
Yeah, so are we, Jahmai. We actually just don't sleep. That's how we get it done now. Before we get into the proceedings this morning, I got to ask you about the Fenway Greens, the City Connects. Did you like those? Were you feeling that drip or what, Jahmai?
Yeah, I think they look pretty sleek. Anytime they can, put this together, and it has to do with my man Wally the Green Monster, highlighting him and that iconic left field at Fenway. I think it's pretty sick. And then obviously the numbers kind of represent the scoreboard as well, and then the ties to the city. I think they look good. I thought they were going to wear them yesterday, but somehow they called an audible. I need to find out what happened there. But, yeah, I think they look pretty fire.
Hey, once you find out, you can get up early again and come back on Boston has entered the chat and break the news for us as well. Hey, look, you heard me say they dropped 2 out of 3 to the Braves, right? I mean, not playing great. 1 win in their last 6. Jahmai, you're there. What gives? What's going wrong? I'm sure that's a loaded answer.
Yeah, it certainly is. And to steal, a lot of the answers from some of the guys, that's baseball. So they've gone on a stretch where they just haven't been able to find consistency, and that's been the biggest thing. They put together a couple games that are great. You see the game on Saturday night. Obviously, Devers hitting his first career walk-off home run, the first time that they did that for him. And you think you're going to be able to build some type of momentum and put together some great baseball in your longest home stretch of the season. That's 10 games. But Lou said it yesterday, and I've heard it for several years covering this game. Momentum is as good as your next day's starting pitcher. So that was not great. Brian Bale couldn't get out of the 5th inning, and he's had a struggle the last 3. So I think if the pitching gets more consistent, that's how they can put it all together. It's like when the pitching is not consistent, then maybe they're hitting. When they're hitting, the pitching is not consistent. When the pitching is consistent, the starting pitching, and they're hitting, then the relievers are blowing games. So, you can't have 2 out of 3 of those things not working for you, but you certainly can't have all 3 of them not working for you. And it seems to be the case for the Red Sox right now. So we're almost to the quarter point of the season.
Yeah. Coming
up this weekend. A third of the way to the season coming up this weekend. And that's the point where you start to assess what you have. And then the next third, you start to try and fill those pieces. And then the final third is when you actually start playing real baseball. That's what they say. So this team has to find some consistency soon. The good thing is the rest of the East is kind of playing 500 beside the Yankees. So they're only 5 games back right now.
Yes.
Still within striking distance, which is good for them right now. But they got to figure it out because they have the talent to do it.
Yeah, and lucky for them, the Orioles are just an absolute dumpster fire of a mess.
Fired their manager.
But that's a team that was, 2 back of the Yankees for first in the division. Now it's 4 or 5 games, depending what happens day to day in baseball. Yeah. But you mentioned, what they've been through a third of the season. Heading into the next third of the season, what do they have to do to salvage this, turn it around, and make it consistent, good baseball, Jahmai?
Well, they're going to get healthy again. Walker Buehler should return in this Mets series. Right now, he's listed as TBA for the Game 2 start, but for all intents and purposes, he'll be in there for Game 2. He's not going to throw 110 pitches, as he said on Saturday, but he's building himself back up. If he can do what he had done to this point, and he was on quite a bit of a stretch of playing consistent and throwing the ball and going deep into games. So hopefully he can find that because, this is the longest homestand of the season. This is where you have to be better. The team was 500 last year. They played below 500 at Fenway. That just cannot happen. They should have the home field advantage, and they should be able to dominate teams in their ballpark because it's their home ballpark. So, it was probably looking maybe a little bit too optimistic to think they can maybe win 7 out of this 10, but they probably should have won 2 out of 3 against Atlanta. Yesterday had an opportunity to put that game away, and then it fell off the rails when, the whole world was walked in that 5th inning. But now you have to go out. You have to try to take 2 out of 3 from the Mets, and now you have to go and try and sweep the Orioles, which is difficult to do, to go 6-3 or 7-3 on this 10-game homestand. 6-4 will be okay, I guess. Yeah. But that's certainly not what they intended to do when Alex Cora in the first game of the series says, this is big. Now we go. We got to dominate it at home and try to win this series. And that was something that he emphasized. So playing better at home is great. That's something that they have to do this next third to take off. And then, you play 500 on the road. But you gotta dominate your home space. That's just something that good teams do, and they have the talent to do so. So it's time to go.
Man, you are preaching. I call it the baseball Holy Ghost to everything you said. But right now, Jahmai, I will take 6-4. I ain't going to lie to you the way this team looks. In fact, I want to ask you about these close one-run losses. I mean, their record in one-run games is abysmal. Why do they continue to lose these close games, Jahmai?
Well, it speaks to kind of all the things I just highlighted. 5-12 in one-run games. You go 500 on there, you might be tied for first place in the AL East, so you could be that first place team. Being able to close out those close contests is a hallmark of good teams. This team has played 500 up until this point, and they've been, just okay. They showed stretches of greatness, and then they showed stretches of abysmal play. So it's finding the median more consistently than not, and then having some spurts of greatness. They have yet to go on like a legitimate stretch of 6, 7, 8 game winning streak.
Right.
And when they do that, I think they will have put it all together. I still believe in this team.
Yeah.
I feel like because of the names on the back of the jerseys and what Alex Bregman has brought to the clubhouse with his play, you got to ask yourself, where would this team be without him? He's having the career year right now. He had the April of his life. And if they didn't have him, they'd really be in bad shape because, Rafi is all world right now. He's Superman. He's carrying this team offensively, but he started off historically bad. You're talking about in the annals of Major League Baseball bad. So this team has to start winning these one-run games, and I think they'll turn that around too because, like I said, I believe in this team. I believe that they'll get it done, and I believe that when it's all said and done, they'll be a postseason team. This is the time to do it. So that's probably going to take about 60 more wins at the least to get that done. So
we'll
I
mean,
see.
This is a team. We've seen 81 and 81. That doesn't get the cut. You need those wins to pile up. 85 around there, north of that. We keep saying team, team, team. We've talked about Rafi Devers, Alex Bregman. We saw Garrett Crochet go out and just shove because he is the ace. He gets it done. But Jahmai, one guy we've seen kind of hit that wall, and it was expected. Christian Campbell wasn't going to keep up his insane start. Eventually, water was going to find its level, especially him just being a rookie. But what have his struggles been from a guy that was a great bat every day in the lineup to now Alex Cora here and there, giving him a day off, and him trying to get his feet back under him?
Yeah, I mean, he had a great month of the season, but he's never played at this level. And I had a conversation with him recently, and he talked about, and I asked him, I said, do you feel like, you're being pitched differently now? Like they've kind of figured out some of your tendencies. And he's like, no, I don't really think so. And he pointed to 3 rockets that he hit that just didn't find the green grass. So he feels like he's still hitting the ball hard. That's kind of his hallmark right now. And the thing that has made him such a solid hitter to this point is he's bought into, this philosophy of hitting the ball hard, getting the ball in the air, which is what he always maintains that's his approach. I'm trying to hit the ball hard, try to hit it in the air. And he's got elite bat speed, and that's something that he worked on this past offseason and in previous years by trying to increase that, which is why he can get to some of these balls. It's just that he's finding hard luck. The numbers certainly don't back up what he says because at the end of the day, it's about getting the results. So he hasn't lost his confidence. He had that big 2-run shot in Detroit, another game that the Red Sox should have won in that game too, where you thought they were going to be able to put that together. And he felt like, that was a turning point for him, quite possibly the end of some of the struggles that he had faced to start this month of May. But He believes in himself. He has the confidence of his teammates. He's obviously put in these positions because of that belief. And, now he's starting to do some work at first base. So they want to keep him in the lineup, obviously, because of the bat and, create a more well-rounded lineup. So it could be some more pieces to come on the way. But, like I talked about, this is not a finished product yet. They're still trying to formulate the most impactful lineup on a daily basis. And I think Christian Campbell, regardless of what he's doing, because he can just turn it around pretty quick, I think he's one of those pieces that they look to, as a starting 9 on an everyday basis.
Take us behind the curtain. With what you've seen with thine eyes, who have you been impressed with other than Bregman? You talked about Bregman already, but other than Bregman, who have you been impressed with this season and sort of you view as a catalyst to turn this around? It can be more than one guy, obviously, but are there a few names that you've seen where you're like, I like what I see from him, that's going to help turn around the ship for the Red Sox moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yes, Bregman. that's the MVP right now. We're taking a poll of the Red Sox season, but a name that should be one of those listed off the top that has finally turned it around is obviously Rafael Devers.
Yeah.
What he is doing right now has been absolutely incredible, and it's why this team has been able to maintain some type of consistency when it comes to at least playing around 500. So, I mean, he's reached base in 20 of his last 21. He's really starting to turn it around. He's leaned into this designated hitter role. Another guy is Jarren Duran, who's starting to take off as well. So you get some of these top-end guys, top-of-your-order guys starting to produce in the way that they've done, and then maybe it trickles down to the rest of the guys. So, some unheralded names, I guess. David Hamilton, considering what he is asked to do, and he's, starting twice maybe in a week and have to come in there and deliver. He was able to get another couple knocks yesterday, and his speed is obviously a game changer. He's impactful in that way. So he's been getting a lot of praise from the manager, and he mentioned in that game over the weekend where everybody knew he was coming in to pinch run and steal, and he was able to still get it done. I think that takes a special skill when everybody knows what's coming and you're still able to accomplish your goals. So one of the guys who's been doing great, and I'm trying to think who else. I think it's, it's just those few guys have been impressive so far. Just off the top of my head, initially being asked the question, I think what they've been able to do has been good so far, and I look for them to continue that and everybody else to kind of catch up to what Bregman has started out.
All right, Jahmai, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for waking up early. We will be asking this again of you, so just be prepared. We're going to bug you, my man.
Yeah, let's say twice a year, man. I'll see you guys in October.
No. Every third. You said every third of the season, 3 times minimum. That's what we're asking.
Appreciate you, man.
We'll
Thank
see.
you.
I have to talk to my people about that.
All right, man. Have your people call our people. Jahmai Webster, our man.